Hello, boys and girls, my wonderful students. Welcome once again to the Tiedao online spoken English course. My name is Yuri, and I am your teacher. I am from Canada, and welcome to another wonderful class. Lesson 8. Lesson 8, and the topic for the day is nightmares. Nightmares. I know that we all love to have a good sleep and to have a good dream, but none of us love nightmares. Nobody likes to have scary nightmares. But today we're going to learn about it, and maybe we're going to learn some new vocabulary, and hopefully you can improve your English so you can have a good life. Alright, but before we do that, I do want to do something. I want to review what we had learned in lesson number 7. Do you remember what we learned last lesson? That's right, idioms! Alright, so let's go learning the first idiom from lesson number 7, and that was called pull strings. Pull strings. To pull some strings. Pulling strings. He pulls some strings. Now, do you remember what this means? Well, let me tell you. To pull strings means to use one's influence. To use one's influence. To change a situation. To control a person. Okay? So to use your power to change something or someone. For example, using your money to make life easier. Using your money to make life easier. Using your beauty, your pretty face, your beautiful hair to get some respect. Okay? Using your influence to pull strings. That's what it means. Okay? So, let's do the practice question that I gave you last time. Question number 1. You want to get the best food at the Tiedao Canteen. You want to get the best food at the Tiedao Canteen. You decide to ask your classmate who works there to save the best food for you. Now, I think because many of the students know when the class is over and you go for lunch, there's a lot of people there. And if you're not first, you're going to be last. And when you're last, you get the last of the food. And the last food is not the best. Okay? We call it leftovers. So you don't want some leftovers. You want the good food. Okay? So what do? You ask your classmate who works there to save the best food for you. Now, what does that mean? How can we use the idiom to explain this? Okay? So, we can say, well, I decided to pull some strings and get my classmate to save the best food for me. So, I decided to pull some strings and get some best food from the canteen from my classmate. Okay? Alright, so only one question for the day. Let's go to idiom number 2. Idiom number 2 says, pull the wool over someone's eyes. Okay? And this means to deceive or fool someone, to not give you some important information in order to control you. So basically to trick you, and by not giving you some important information in order to control you, to trick you, to use you. Okay? To pull the wool over someone's eyes. Okay? Here's some practice questions for you. Question number 1. We have Joker and the Batman. So it seems like Joker and the Batman are working together. Maybe they're friends for a little bit. So question 1 says, Joker told Batman he's a good guy now and promises never to steal or hurt anyone again. Batman, therefore, releases the Joker. The next day, Joker steals candy from a baby. What just happened? Use the idiom to explain it. Okay? So, obviously, the Joker pulled the wool over Batman's eyes. Okay? Joker pulled the wool over Batman's eyes. Alright, question number 2. Chad's girlfriend, Sasha, is from a very poor country. Chad is from a very rich country. Sasha only wants his passport and money. She doesn't really love him. What is going on? What is Sasha doing to Chad? She is what? She is pulling a wool over his eyes. Sasha is pulling the wool over Chad's eyes. Okay? That's what's going on. All right. Idiom number 3. Put someone on the spot. Put someone on the spot. Put someone on the spot means to put someone in a very difficult situation or to present someone with a difficult choice or to embarrass someone. All three actually. So, such a difficult situation where you have to make a choice or we have to do something that you're not comfortable with or you're not ready to do something or you're surprised, and because you're surprised you are embarrassed. Okay, that's what to put someone on the spot means. Now notice, as you can see, without this idiom it's really hard to use to explain it. This idiom has many definitions. So that's why it's so good to use this idiom to quickly communicate your ideas. Okay? So to put someone on the spot, here's some practice questions for you. Question number 1. A crazy man said to a girl, "Hey, girl, how much do you weigh?" She said, "Huh? Weigh? You asking me? I don't know what to say." So what happened to that girl? She was asked a question she was not comfortable asking, right? She was forced to do something she did not want to do, okay? And that was to answer a question about her weight. Someone's asking you, are you skinny or are you fat? Now that's a horrible question to ask to a girl, but it was asked, and she did not know what to say. She felt embarrassed, so she was put on the spot. She was put on the spot. Okay, so question number 2. Wow, while the teacher was talking, you, the student, fell asleep. Later, you hear the teacher call your name. You say, "Huh? What? What is it?" Teacher says, "Wake up. Please teach my class now. I'm going home." Huh? How would you feel if the teacher asked you to go right now and to teach this English class? You have never taught this class before. You are not ready. You don't know what to teach. You don't know what to do. You're just sleeping. You just woke up. How do you feel? Obviously, you feel like you've been put on the spot, right? You feel like you've been put on the spot. All right. So that was the idiom, to be put on the spot. Idiom number 4 is see eye to eye. See eye to eye. See eye to eye means to agree, okay? To agree. Basically, you come to the same conclusions, you have the same opinions, you would make the same choices. That's what seeing eye to eye means. Okay, so here's some practice questions for you. Question number 1. Your classmate likes music and to party, but you prefer to study and do your homework. Describe your relationship with the classmate. Okay, so your classmate, he just wants to party, play some games, but you want to be a good student. You want to graduate. You want to get a good job. You want to be respected. So, you guys what? You don't agree. Because you don't agree, you don't see eye to eye. Okay? Question number 2. You and your mother agree that cooking is a way into a man's heart. What is going on between your mom and you? You and your mom agree. So, agree about what? Agree about cooking. So what does this mean? That means you and your mom see eye to eye. See eye to eye. Okay. Now we have idiom number 5, the last idiom. Spill the beans. Spill the beans. Spill the beans means to reveal a secret. What was once hidden is now not hidden. To reveal a secret, spill the beans. Okay? So here's some practice questions for you. And question number 1. You think your classmate stole money from the Chinese people. What do you tell him? You think your classmate stole money from the Chinese people. What do you tell him? Well, you want to ask him to tell you the truth, right? Did it really happen? So spill the beans. Maybe you want to ask him, where's the money? Spill the beans. Where's the money? Spill the beans. Did you really steal this? Spill the beans. Why did you do it? Okay? Question number 2. What do you tell someone to make them speak the truth? Well, you ask them to spill the beans. Okay? That's what it means. All right. Good. So with that said, we've reviewed all the idioms from lesson number 7. And finally, we're now going to start lesson number 8. And lesson number 8 is the topic of nightmares. Ooh, nightmares. Okay? So, here's a question. What is the difference between a bad dream and a nightmare? What do you think is the difference between a bad dream and a nightmare? Maybe I'll give you 5 seconds to think about this. Okay. Well, I'm going to answer this question for you. Okay? Nightmares are lengthy. They're long. They're vividly realistic. They look so real. You can almost feel it. You can almost taste it. You can almost feel like you were there. It's like you experienced something. They're elaborate dreams. They're very complicated dreams with imagery. They evoke fear and anxiety that rattle you awake from a deep sleep. That means they're so realistic that you just cannot even forget them. You cannot even remember them. So much so that when you wake up, you're like, oh, what just happened? That was so real. You don't know whether your nightmare was a dream or they actually really happened, right? A nightmare is a bad dream, but not all bad dreams are nightmares. A bad dream is simply a dream that is unpleasant. A bad dream is simply a dream that is unpleasant. A nightmare is a dream with vivid, very clear, and very disturbing plot, story that most often wakes the dreamer from their sleep. Okay? So, when extreme nightmares reoccur, often when they happen again and again, they become a sleep disorder, a sleep disease, a sleep illness. So when you have nightmares that happen every single night, or anytime you close your eyes, you have the nightmare, that's when the nightmares become a problem. You probably should go see a doctor. Okay? Nightmares tend to occur most often during rapid eye movement, or what we call REM sleep, as do most dreaming. When most dreams happen, they happen during the middle of your dream cycle. So, at first, you just trying to fall asleep. You're not really falling asleep, you're just trying to fall asleep. You're still thinking about things, you're still thinking about the day. But then after a while, your brain really shuts down and you lose all your control. And that's when nightmares happen during the rapid eye movement, during the REM sleep cycle. That's in the middle of the dream cycle when you can't move. So, and that's where you start dreaming. And that's do most dreams, not just nightmares. If you've gone through a traumatic event, if you've gone through a really bad situation, if something really bad happened to you, such as an attack, if somebody attacked you, maybe a dog, maybe a boy, maybe a girl, or there was an accident, if you fell down from your bicycle, or if somebody stole something from you, you might have reoccurring nightmares. Because of that, nightmares will become common to you, and they're going to be common about that experience. If so, for example, if you've been attacked, your nightmares most likely are going to show attacks and attacks and attacks. Can nightmares make you feel better? Can nightmares make you feel better? A nightmare can act as a way for us to process and let go of our day-to-day anxieties. Okay? People are afraid because they don't really know. They really don't know. It's the unknown. They have maybe your fears that you don't know what's going to happen. But nightmares can make that happen, but they don't make it actually happen. So nightmares can make the situation you fear happen, but actually it never happens. It's kind of like having like a practice fear, a practice anxiety. So if you're really afraid of something, the nightmare can help you practice it and can help you overcome it. Bad dreams are often a reflection of stress and worries that we feel when we are awake. When we dream, the brain takes these abstract fears and gives them a narrative. The brain takes these fears that we have and gives them a story, gives them a plot, and it fills in the blanks. It gives you the details. Concrete memories are easier for our brains to process. Memories that are real, that had happened before, that you had experienced before, are easier for our brains to process and to file away than general abstract anxieties. And we subconsciously think of them as the past, not the present. Remembering the dream helps us to distance ourselves from the real worry and provide us with an emotional release. What is a false awakening? What is a false awakening? A false awakening is when you think you have woken up from a dream. You then get out of your bed, brush your teeth, go about your business until you realize you're still asleep, and then you properly wake up. So it's thinking that you are awake, but actually you're still sleeping. That is the worst kind of nightmare because you think you're free, you think it's over, but then it happens, and then you wake up again. This is what psychologists call a false awakening. It's not very pleasant to have this dream. A false awakening can happen multiple times. The philosopher Bertrand Russell claimed to have gone through around 100 false awakenings when coming out of a sleep following a general anesthetic. And that anesthetic is a drug to put you to sleep. So when you have some surgery, when you go see a doctor, and the doctor needs to cut you up, of course they're going to give you some medicine that will put you to sleep. Well, this philosopher, this person named Bertrand Russell, he said that when he was put to sleep by this medicine, he went through 100 false awakenings. That means that he had a nightmare, and then, well, he had a dream. You don't necessarily need to have a scary nightmare. You can just have a normal dream. So you have a dream, and then you wake up. And you think, wow, okay, I'm back home. And you walk around, and you see an elephant. It's like, huh, why is an elephant? I'm dreaming again. And then okay, I need to wake up. So you wake up again. And you look at it, there's no elephant. I'm back in my primary school. Hey, what am I doing in my primary school? Am I dreaming again? Oh, man, I gotta wake up again. Okay, yeah, wow, okay, I am back. I am back in my home, and I look around, and I have 3 fingers. I don't have 5 fingers. Why don't I have 5 fingers? Oh no, I'm dreaming again. So, and finally you wake up, and you're back to normal. Scary? It definitely is very scary. Can you imagine having 100 of these? We just had 3 of them, and those are scary. But having 100, and that's what a false awakening is. But thankfully, that doesn't happen often. It happens only when you have medicine. So when somebody puts you to sleep using medicine, that's what happens. It doesn't often happen naturally. So you don't really have to worry about having those kind of nightmares. Okay? So, here's a question for you. Have you ever experienced a false awakening? And what makes them scary? I'll give you a few moments to think about this question. Okay? How about 20 seconds? Alright, have you ever experienced a false awakening? Go. Alright, good. Now, what is a nightmare disorder? Remember, we learned that disorder means an illness, a sickness, a problem. What is a nightmare disorder? It's a physical problem, right? But what are the symptoms? What are the symptoms of a nightmare disorder? Repeatedly means you repeat repeatedly means often, again and again. Waking up with detailed recollection of long, frightened dreams that center around threats to survival, security, or physical injury. Okay? People with nightmare disorder are oriented and alert instantly upon awakening. People with nightmare disorder experience distress that impacts occupational, social, or other important areas of daily, normal, functioning lives. Okay? So, a nightmare disorder is to wake up from nightmares. constantly. Almost as soon as you fall asleep, you have a nightmare. And again, and again, and again. And they're always scary, and they always involve a threat to your life. So it's always feeling that you always feel like you're going to be hurt. Some kind of hurt, some kind of pain. You lose all sense of security. There's no safety there. There's no safety there. All right? There's no safety. You're trying to survive. You're trying to escape those. And if those type of nightmares happen to you often, you are having a nightmare disorder. Okay? As soon as you wake up, though, you're back to normal. But you still remember what happened in that nightmare. And that can cause you some stress when you go back to work, when you go back to your normal life. Fear, worry isn't the main reason you have nightmares. What are the most common reasons for nightmares? Well, there's confusion. Okay? It's not always the fear, it's not always the worry. It might be also confusion. You might be confused. You don't know what's happening. You are lost. You don't know what's going on with the future. You don't know if you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know. You don't know what's going on. You don't know why are things happening to you. You have many questions. That can cause nightmares. There's guilt. Being guilty. You've done something wrong. You've done something wrong. You are not secure. Your conscience is not clear. Your heart doesn't feel honest. There's something wrong. And you feel guilt. You feel guilt that you've done something wrong or you hurt someone. Disgust. You feel disgusted, right? You feel disgusted. You feel that violated. You feel like something disgusting happened to you, right? So, disgust. For example, you fell into the washroom. You fell into the toilet. Okay? You fell into the toilet. You feel disgusted. Okay? You will have nightmares of you being in a toilet, right? Sadness. You have nightmares because of sadness. You have lost someone. Maybe there's a death. Something awful happened. Okay? Sadness. What situations can cause you nightmares? Well, 60% of cases, anxiety or stress. There's also a major life event. Something seriously happened. A change happened in your life. A change, a big change. Maybe you have moved. Maybe you moved to a different country. Maybe you moved to a different school. Maybe you have lost a relationship. Maybe you have lost, there's a breakup. Maybe there's a divorce. Maybe you lost a pet. Maybe you lost a friend. You had an illness with a fever. A fever will often give you nightmares. So if you have a fever, an illness, a virus, a sickness, a flu, you might have nightmares. A death of a loved one, bereavement, a death of a loved one. Somebody who was here recently but is never coming back again. Okay. Drugs. There's a side effect. You can use drugs, both illegal drugs and legal drugs. A reaction or a side effect to a drug. Recent withdrawal from drugs or alcohol. For example, if you've been drinking alcohol for a really long time and then you stopped, there's going to be a lot of stress and a lot of nightmares. Okay? There's also breathing disorders during sleep apnea. So if you cannot sleep well, for example, maybe you snore, maybe you do that, well, you're not going to be sleeping well and you're not going to be breathing well, so you're going to have nightmares. Okay? Eating just before going to bed. This raises the body's metabolism and brain activity. If you eat before bed, your brain is active. It's not going to sleep, so it's active. Can you have a nightmare about someone you have never met or have seen? Studies show that you can only dream about people you've met or have seen before. When you sleep, your memories get processed from short term to long term. These memories make up most of the images in your nightmares. You can also dream of things you've seen in movies or books. Technically, there can be new characters in a nightmare, but they're really an amalgamation of faces you've already seen. They're just a collection of faces you've already seen before. How often do you have nightmares? That's a question I can ask you, my wonderful student. How often do you have nightmares? Once you think about this question, I'll give you a few moments to answer it. Okay? I'll give you about 20 seconds. Go. All right. Have you thought about the question, how often do you have nightmares? I would suppose the answer to be, how often do you get dreams? How often, how long do you sleep? One of every two adults has nightmares on occasion. Between 2% and 8% of the adult population is plagued with nightmares, is affected with nightmares. In which periods do you experience more nightmares than usual? When do you experience nightmares? Usually after something bad has happened, or there's a lot of stress, or there's been a change in your life. Okay? Well, here's a question for you. What is your worst nightmare? What is your worst nightmare? Okay? So, what is your worst nightmare? Well, let's move on then. What are common themes that come up in people's nightmares? So, what actually happens in most people's nightmares? Our nightmares pick up on universal fears that people have. Most people have the same fears. Researchers found that most common nightmares themes include insects, bugs, vermin, okay? So, insects. So, for example, spiders. Do you like spiders? Do you like them coming up on your face? Well, most people are afraid of insects. They're afraid of ants, bugs, especially flying bugs and spiders with many legs. Vermin, okay? Most people are afraid of falling from a high place, being chased by animals, chased by police, chased by people with knives, chased people with guns and sticks, chased people with a chainsaw, chased by an axe, a hammer, and then we have death of a family and friends. There's also interpersonal conflict. Maybe there's a breakup, a relationship, a fight between your best friend. Maybe your best friend, he took your girlfriend, or your roommate, she took your boyfriend. That will cause you nightmares. And there's violence. Of course, if violence happened to you, that will happen to other people. All right. So, why do we have similar nightmares despite cultural differences? Why do people have similar nightmares? Even though where I am from China and someone else is from Canada, where I am from Canada and someone else is from China, but we still have the same nightmares. Nightmares are more similar than different because they dramatize people's conceptions and concerns in relation to personal issues, which do not vary much from country to country as culture does. Basically, what this means is that we all experience fears, the exact same fears. Some of them are death. No matter if you're from China, from Africa, from Japan, from Russia, from Canada, from America, death is something that happens to everyone. Okay? So there's a fear of death. And fear of death produces nightmares. Okay? There's a fear of being hurt. So how do you get hurt? We all get hurt. It doesn't matter where you are, we all get hurt. So that's why those things often happen. You don't need to be from different countries to experience the same nightmares. What fears are most often manifested in people's nightmares? So, statistics show that fears that show up in nightmares, relationships, significant others. So, nightmares about relationships or someone you really care about, family, work, career, those are the nightmares. Some people are afraid they might be working forever. I'm going to be cleaning toilets for the rest of my life. That's a nightmare. Some people are afraid of losing their job. There's social problems. Maybe there's an earthquake, or a virus, or disease. Or there's bad weather, or there's something bad happened. Or if Japan has attacked China, or if America has attacked China, you're going to get nightmares. Are you safe? Or are you not safe? Social problems. There's health, right? What if you're sick? What if your friend is sick? What if somebody from a different country is sick? That means you're going to be sick soon. You're going to have nightmares. There's general well-being, life threat. You are not safe. Safety. Somebody's going to break into your home and take everything you have. Okay? So, infidelity is a major concern for both men and women, especially in their nightmares. Okay? What does this mean? Infidelity means someone is in your relationship. There's the problem. Okay? Your boyfriend likes another girlfriend, or your girlfriend likes another boy. Okay? Studies show that's one of the most That's what people have the most nightmares of. Infidelity. Who do you... So, at what stages of a relationship do these dreams appear more? Okay. So, according to statistics, abandonment, meaning to be left alone, single people don't really have a worry. Single women don't really care about being alone that much, but they do care when they are in a relationship. When they are in a relationship, women feel insecure and therefore they have nightmares. And especially when you're married, 49, almost 50% of women have a fear of divorce, have a fear of being left alone. Okay? So, what work-related nightmares do you have? 64% of Americans report having nightmares about their job. Most common work dreams are getting fired. You're fired. People are afraid of doing a bad job. They work so hard, they try their best, and then they get fired. Okay? People are afraid of being publicly humiliated in front of other coworkers. Okay? If you come to work and you forget to wear your pants, that's gonna give you nightmares. Okay? That's gonna give you nightmares. Going to naked to work, that's a common nightmare to a lot of American people. Or being humiliated, being embarrassed. Okay? For example, doing your job, thinking that you've done your job well, you worked so hard. You worked on Saturday, you worked on Sunday, you gave up a lot just to do your job. And then you show your job to your coworkers. You said, I worked very hard for this. And what happens? People are laughing. They think it's a joke. They laugh at you. That is a common fear between Americans. Missing a deadline. Somebody says, finish your job by Sunday. So people are afraid. What if I cannot do it? I need more time. I need more time. That's one fear. Missing a deadline. Being late for work. Being late for work. Okay? People are afraid. What if I'm late for work? What if I miss my car? What if my car doesn't work? What if there's a traffic jam? What if I miss my bus? What if I miss my school bus and there's an exam? There's a final exam and I miss the bus. Here's an example from my personal life. When I had an exam in my school, I remember tying my shoes and my shoelaces would break. And I had no shoes to wear. So what do? So I had to wear 2 different shoes to my final exam. That was very embarrassing. Arriving unprepared for a meeting, or being not ready for a meeting or anything else. Okay? Or getting lost in the office. Fighting with a boss. Okay? So, you've learned something today about nightmares. And hopefully this can help you better understand nightmares when they come up to you. Hopefully you have learned something today. Alright, this has been Lesson 8 on nightmares. Thank you for being my wonderful student. We have come to the end of the class. I hope you learned something. My name is Yuri. I am from Canada. I'm here to say adieu. I'm saying goodbye. Have a sweet dream. Bye-bye.